NBA Straya, how are you going? Yeah, you going, you right? You should be. Why is that, Jim? Well, it's the start of a new NBA season, basically. The off-season is officially here. It is Tuesday, July 1st, which means free agency has begun. That's right. This is NBA Straya. I'm your host, James Clements, here in Larry Armour Studios, hanging out, giving you the lowdown on all things free agency. So much chaos today. Everybody's getting signed. We're going to talk through all of the signings that we copped today, which was a lot. There was also some pretty, to be honest, a big trade in there too, which is really interesting. We're not going to grade all the moves or whatever because there's no real massive super duper swings. It's a lot of working around the edges, if you know what I mean. So we'll talk all that out. We'll look at the big remaining questions from free agency as well. And a lot of that is where our Aussies come in. So we'll get into that. So that's basically it today. We've got a couple of yeah-nahs and unpopular opinion of the day and Outback Takehouse as well. So we'll throw that in there just at the end and then sort of look forward to sort of who's out there still at this point. So I guess we should just bloody well get into it, shouldn't we? Episode 1298 of NBA Straya. Let's go!
This is Josh Giddey.
G'day, this is Andrew Gaze.
This is Jack White.
This is Joe Ingles.
This is Dyson Daniels.
This is Chris Anstey.
This is Matthew Delvedova.
This is Shane Hill.
You're listening to NBA Australia.
And you're listening to NBA Australia.
And you're listening to NBA Straya.
And you're listening to NBA Straya.
And you're listening to NBA Straya.
You're listening to NBA Australia.
And you're listening and watching NBA Straya.
This is NBA Australia. Let's do it.
Watch out for the shark attack.
You better watch out for the attack of hand, foot, and mouth, I guess, if you're the baby squid. Got sent home from daycare yesterday. And, your old mate Jim's stuck at home looking after him, trying to track all this free agency chaos today. But it was all right. He was very chill. Just did some plays. He's only 2.5. He's just like, bro, whatever, man. You do your thing. I'll do mine. We'll be cool. So, good times, great memories, hand, foot, and mouth. Jesus, he's fine. It's not even on his mouth or hands or feet. So, anyway. Right, let's start today's show the way we start every show here at NBA Australia with the daily. Is it some sort of whip around, Jim? Yes, it is. We have a bunch of news. So, before we even get into the actual free agency gear, there was a bunch of stuff that popped off today. Not the least of which is that we actually now know the salary cap for 2025-2026, which is pretty interesting. Why is that, Jim? Well, we now know under the parameters with which we are now working, right? So all these front offices have done these projections about what the salary cap would be. We now know the actual number, so they're kind of looking at all these players, what they want to pay them in free agency. We'll get to all those contracts in a second, but here we are. We have it for the 25-26 season. It's set at $154.6 million, right? For the 25-26 season. So 154.6. And you're like, okay, cool. What does that mean? Well, that's, the cap. The interesting one is this first apron of the luxury tax goes in at 195.9 and the second apron goes at 207.8. So this is weird because it's only moved up by 7%. So when these teams would have been factoring all of this stuff in, they probably would have been going, hey, the NBA's made more money than God because of the new TV deal that we just signed, all this sort of stuff. We're probably selling a bunch of Luka jerseys for the Lakers now. Check it out. And it's only gone up 7%. So you're just sort of thinking about this simple idea of right, how are all these free agents now going to fit within where we're operating at 154.6 as the salary cap, and then the first apron 195. So it is pretty interesting how these teams would have been holy crap, we've suddenly got maybe 3% less worth of cash to work with, which when you're talking these numbers is pretty big. Anyway, there you go. I think Zach Lowe was out there saying it's big implications that we're making deals based on the assumption of another 10% increase, but here they are. Right. Other news, the Knicks still don't have a coach. Jim, that's not news. They didn't have a coach. Yeah, they still don't. Mike Brown's getting a second interview, which is great. I love a coach on his fourth team. Sounds right. What was it? Cleveland. Lakers, Sacramento, Knicks. Wow. Just doing the tour of the interesting clubs. Anyway, Mike Brown, I don't really vibe that pick. I think the Taylor Jenkins one is like, I think he was a fucking awesome coach, Taylor Jenkins, and then just got absolutely beset by injury and got absolutely hamstrung by a bunch of weird fucky offense from that front office who went, hey, you Zach Edey. Anyway, so I'd hire Taylor Jenkins, but I'm not fucking the fail son out there running the Knicks. My name's James, but Clement's not Dolan. Just saying. The other big ones that hit off today, before, and this is kind of free agency related, but obviously Deandre Ayton was bought out yesterday, sacrificed $10 million of his $36.7 mil. We'll probably make that up over the course of his, next little contract, whether it be part of someone's mid-level exception, all that sort of stuff. Obviously, Deandre Ayton becomes like a pretty big name, despite being kind of shit, right? And there is an incredible graphic which basically charts his production leading up to him signing his maximum contract. So you watch it and it goes up, 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 up. Signs his maximum contract and it goes down, 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 down. Just all-time bag grabbing. I'm going to talk about bag grabbing in a second as well. But Deandre Ayton has been bought out by the Blazers. I think I tweeted straight away, you, Deandre Ayton, are a Los Angeles Laker. There are a couple of teams out there vying for him, but I don't know. Interesting to see what happens there. And Jaren Jackson Jr. was the other one. He got extended. We talked about this on yesterday's show. $240 million over a 5-year extension. So they had to carve out a little bit of cap space to bump Jaren Jackson Jr. up to the point where they could then extend him from a higher number. All nerd shit, but they did it. So anytime you can give $240 million to a bloke who averages less than 2 rebounds in a quarter, you got to do it, I guess. Jordan Clarkson also got bought out by the Utah Jazz. It's a soft J. He's going to land with the New York Knicks. We'll get to that in a second. Cole Anthony, Cole! Basically came to an agreement with the Grizzlies that they would buy him out, which is pretty interesting as well because his dad suggested it on TV. Greg Anthony, a.k.a. Oral Ambien, one of the worst basketball commentators out there, just absolutely abysmal. But it was pretty funny because he's on NBA TV going, maybe they should buy him out. And boom, it happened. Do you think he was working off insider knowledge? Maybe, Jim. Fucking no. And 2 other little bits. Devin Booker staring down the barrel of a 2-year, $150 million extension. That's right, Devin Booker. A bloke who's won sweet fuck all. Could be making $75 million a year in a couple of years. That's pretty bloody good. And Jalen Williams, it came out, so you might remember J-Dub, from the title-winning Oklahoma City Thunder. Yes, the team that won the title. The start of it was like a week ago. Sam Presti came out and said, yeah, he had a torn ligament in his wrist from late in the season, was playing the entire playoffs with it, and he's going to have surgery in the offseason, which is crazy. Apparently he did it on April 9 against the Suns. He had 33, 7, and 5 in that game. Didn't play the last 2 regular season games, played all the playoffs. That's fucking crazy. Presti was just like, yeah. It was fucking nuts. People love to just like give you a hint that they're injured. J-Dub was just like, nah, fuck that. I'm playing. Hardcore. And Presti did also come out as a, pretty smart dude. I got a lot of time for Sam Presti. And it was like, hey, yeah, it's pretty fucked how the NBA keeps saying all this defensive shit about, look, hey, there's no correlation between blown Achilles and like workload and like how many games we play. And Sam Presti's like, bullshit. Just like all of us. Right, the biggest news from today. Let's do it. Jingling Joe Ingles is back. Let's do it, Jingles. Woo. Hey, there it is. Popping bottles in the club. Jingling Joe Ingles, The Last Dance, possibly. Probably my favorite deal from today. He settled for a 1-year, $3.6 million contract from Minnesota. Didn't push for the max anywhere else, of course. But anyway, Jingles, one year on the veteran minimum to return to the Wolves. Love this. People are like, why would they bother? Jim, what are they doing? Oh, my God. And you got Wolves fans having a fucking sook. Shut up. Shut the fuck up. Sometimes team building's important. And I think I just messaged this to somebody. Having Joe Ingles on the Wolves has probably meant that Anthony Edwards has 2 less kids. right? Because just Jingles is probably talking shit to him every 5 fucking minutes going, what are you going to do, dickhead? Have another kid? Cost yourself another fucking 18 years worth of fucking child support, you dumb fuck. You know that Jingles is doing that behind the scenes. So he's there to keep Anthony Edwards' head on straight. But also, look, there is so much value in having a bench coach player who can tell other dudes to fucking pull their heads in and also is not going to complain about minutes and is just like a good dude, a good barometer of the locker room and can keep shit on an even keel. Like, how often are you going to have your 12th man on your roster actually playing, right? Like, and if you have that person fucking antsy and pissy for more fucking playing time because they want to make more money, that's the sort of shit that annoys other teammates, annoys coaches, pisses everybody off, and just sets like a shitty culture. Jingles is just like, nah, I'm good doing what I need to do. Bang, off we go. So, great culture move, I think, for the Wolves. Love it for Jingles. Right, the other big stuff. Let's do it. The big trade. So this one almost kind of flew under the radar a little bit because there was so much news happening. Well, I guess we should start with the simple fact that it's now past midnight on July 1st in, the USA East Coast. And a part of me does miss the sheer fucking chaos of the midnight start until they kind of brought it back to 6 p.m. So we've obviously been going on with all of this free agency shit from when the clock turned 8 a.m. our time on the east coast of Australia. That's 6 p.m. New York time, all that sort of gear. It used to be midnight. It used to be more fucking chaotic. It was awesome. You'd have Mark Cuban driving around the streets of Houston trying to find fucking where DeAndre Jordan lives, all that good shit. No real crazy stories like that today, but really we got an awesomely strange, fascinating trade where Cam Johnson from the Brooklyn Nets is traded to the Denver Nuggets for Michael Porter Jr., as well as an unprotected 2032 first-round pick from the Denver Nuggets going to Brooklyn. So people have been very much like, is that the best they could get for Cam Johnson? Surely they got offered more. It's like, they probably did. At the same time, despite just the shit fucking drafting of Brooklyn, which I'm just like, everybody's like, are you fucking serious? And they're horrible. Like, Sean Marks, his draft fucking record is shit house. Go back. I went back through it the other day, and it's like, oh, no, some of them are really good. Nah, it's like Nick Claxton and fucking, there's like 1 or 2 other picks, and that's fucking it. What he has done is turned Kevin Durant basically into a full roster. Right? Where these picks keep moving around. He keeps getting other picks, gets their own picks back, all this sort of shit. And he's turned KD into just a fucking treasure trove of assets. And then on top of that, you think about what he got. Cam Johnson was just a little part of that KD trade, along with Nickeil Bridges. They got 5 firsts for fucking Nickeil Bridges. They get another first for Cam Johnson as well as Michael Porter Jr., which, if he just is healthy for the first half of this year, would not surprise me if Brooklyn just go, cool, who wants Michael Porter Jr.? Anybody? So the key there is obviously the 2032 first from Denver, which I think is when Jokic will be 36 years old. 36. I don't know what happened to my voice then, but it was weird. 36, you see, Jim. There, yeah, all right, yeah, 36. It's not even yes, it's 36 fucking. 36-year-old Jokic. I don't know about you, but I reckon that might be a little bit past his prime. Does he keep himself in as good shape as LeBron? Probably not. But nice little pick there. At the same time, maybe Brooklyn will be kind of feeling like, geez, we probably could have gotten more. Maybe you could have. Righto. So what else happened, Jim? Well, as the clock hit 8, our time, actually kind of fuck all, right? And then, as everyone's getting the old dog and bone, it kind of seemed like the teams and the agents, usually, so back in the old midnight days, the clock would strike fucking midnight and Woj, we all missed Woj, didn't we? There was a great tweet, I think, like Woj's phone is just like staring at him like the Green Goblin mask as free agency opened. You just do one for old times, Woj. Anyway, basically it'd hit midnight and you'd basically have all these drafts ready to go. He and Shams. Of like, this deal has been agreed to, this one, bang, 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 bang. It hits 8 a.m. and it kind of feels like maybe the teams had been fucking yelled at by Adam Silver in the NBA to not do too much fucking tampering before the actual moratorium was lifted. We saw a lot of those extensions worked out. So there was a bunch of extensions, which I'll talk about in a second. But basically all of these signings, etc., it's sort of like trickled out and there was a bit of a flood. And I'll tell you what, everybody in the NBA seems real fucking desperate to actually have a July 4th weekend. Seriously, there is not much left to do in the NBA this week. So let's get into it. Nickeil Alexander-Walker ends up in Atlanta, 4 years, $62 million. Love this one. So I mentioned this one first because they did give a lot of shine to this very early on the ESPN trade special, which was, to be honest, just, again, a bit of a shit show. But it's a sign and trade, right? And so there's another one involving Atlanta and Houston, where Clint Capela is also going to be a sign and trade as well. But Nickeil Alexander-Walker, I love this pairing along with Dyson Daniels because holy shit, that backcourt in Atlanta was a shit show. And at least now you got like a do-everything kind of backup guard behind Trey, behind Dyson, and away you go. 4 years, $62 million. It's a lot of money for a backup, but at the same time, here we are. This is the time to push. The East is a fucking wide open shit show this year. Atlanta's going fucking cool. Chips in. Let's do it. Get Jalen Johnson back. Kristaps Porzingis. They went and got Luke Kennard, the Duckman, as well. Kennard, 1 year, $11 million. And I love this. I love the reporting on this sort of stuff. So Trae Young was really involved. It was really convincing. It's like, yeah, I'm sure the fucking 4 years, $62 million that Nickeil Alexander-Walker got as well might have been, helped grease the skids a little bit. But anyway, Nickeil Alexander-Walker and Luke Kennard just gives them a little bit of extra punch off that Atlanta bench. Kind of love it. Good on him. D'Lo, he's off to Dallas, which is fucking, just give me 1 second. So, let me get this straight, Nico Harrison.
Defense wins championships. I'll tell you, defense.
And then he goes and signs fucking D'Angelo Russell? Are you fucking shitting me? What? Absolute lunacy. D'Lo, 2 years, $13 million. Yes, it's a cheap deal. Yes, it's a bargain. The thing is, he's a shithead. And he kind of sucks. Just ask every Laker or Brooklyn fan last year. It's like, what did you think of D'Lo? And they'll be like, yeah, fucked, mate. Just every so often you'll have like an awesome game. You're like, yes, that's the D'Angelo Russell. And then we'll just be shit for 2 weeks. It's fucking crazy. Anyway, so D'Lo goes to Dallas. This has big repercussions for our man Dante Exum, as well as, Spencer Dinwiddie's just got to be like, are you fucking serious? Again? I'm like, everywhere I go, this motherfucker just follows me and puts me out of a job. It's fucked. So pour one out for Spencer Dinwiddie. Anyway, D'Lo to Dallas. So that means that basically Dallas snag a point guard that they believe is starting caliber. I would argue that he's fucking not. D'Lo's just shit. Absolute fucking train wreck on defense. Offense, just his IQ just fucking annoys me because he has these flashes where that was awesome, then everything else is just shit. So, yeah, a bit of a dickhole if you ask me. Anyway, he's off to Dallas. The other big one, so let's talk about some Houston then. Dorian Finney-Smith, 4 years, $53 million. They steal him away from the Lakers. And you can't tell me the Lakers did not miss a fucking trick here with the Dorian Finney-Smith stuff. How do you build around Luka, LeBron, and Austin Reeves? Well, Jim, you probably get solid wing defenders. And the Lakers are like, nah, we're good. You fucking... Houston will wipe the floor with whatever the Los Angeles Lakers put out there next year, guaranteed. They got Kevin Durant. They replaced Dylan Brooks basically with Dorian Finney-Smith. Fucking yes, mate. He's a bigger wing, can body up against the bigger wings out there in the West. You've got plenty of depth now in that Houston team. Plenty of defensive depth. They're incredible. And they then went and got Clint Capela. 3 years, $21.5 million for the Rockets. They don't have enough money to actually do this. So I think this will be a sign and trade. Basically, with the Hawks, Jock Landale might actually be involved in this one yet. We don't know just as of yet. So we'll figure this out as it sort of goes along. But the Jock Landale situation's a little bit still up in the air. So we'll see what happens. But either way. that's how it goes. You get this on the big jobs. We talked about this yesterday with the Jock Landale guarantee being pushed back to July 7. It'd help them make moves if need be. He could get, used as part of a sign and trade if they do guarantee it, blah, 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 blah. So he might be on his way to Atlanta. Don't know yet, right? Clint Capela, Dorian Finney-Smith on Houston. How about Denver? Bruce Brown, he's back. One of Jokic's favourites on a 1-year minimum deal, which is massive because suddenly, look, we're not going to do winners and losers. We'll do winners and losers of free agency, the off-season shit, probably on Friday's show, just when we've got essentially everything done. But Denver replacing Michael Porter Jr., just the world's most up and down mercurial spud, with Cam Johnson, who's just like a fucking walking bucket, 3-and-D, big wing, can do what you need him to do, who's never played with a player as good as Jokic. Like, holy fucking shit, let's go. And they get Bruce Brown back on the cheap. That's awesome. Absolute win for Denver. Same for Atlanta as well, I think, with Nick Alexander-Walker and co. Anyway, good stuff there for Denver. Jordan Clarkson, as mentioned, 1 year, 3.6 veteran minimum at the Knickerbockers after his buyout from Utah. The Clippers made some moves. Brook Lopez, 2 years, $18 million for the big old Splash Mountain. I think the biggest danger with this contract for the Clippers is that Brook Lopez will just spend all his time at either Disneyland or Universal Studios. Like, you've got him back in LA. I'm just saying, as a Laker, they moved on from him pretty quickly. When he was in Milwaukee, gun. You know what's not in Milwaukee? Disneyland or Universal. Just saying. Either way. Clippers, look, he gets the backup Zoobs. Kind of don't mind that move. They also brought back Nick Batum on a, we talked about this on yesterday as well. He declined his team player option, so they re-signed him for a 2-year contract. Can't remember actually what the number was on that, so let's have a look. But Nick Batum back as well. They kind of couldn't replace him otherwise. So 2-year, $11.5 million for Nick Batum. His wife is probably very happy with him. I don't want to move, Nicholas. Anyway, Ty Jones. He's going to Orlando. I love Tyus Jones to Orlando. Look, Tyus Jones, however, does fall into the category that I love bringing up on NBA Straya of like, oh yeah, no, he's really good. And then like you have them in your life, on your team, and you realize their limitations very fucking quickly. It's like the platonic ideal of a Tyus Jones or a Delon Wright, etc., is great. And then you try to play them in the playoffs and you're like, oh, right. Yes, so that's why we have them on a small money deal. Yeah. But Tyus Jones in Orlando, they just needed a fucking point guard. I would have much preferred Malcolm Brogdon if I'm Orlando, but here we are. Tyus Jones is a good first step. You get Anthony Black in there, Jalen Suggs back, Tyus Jones, suddenly you're looking a little bit more solid. You got Desmond Bane as a backup ball handler behind Franz and Paolo. Suddenly, you're feeling pretty good about stuff. Anyway, Ty Jerome, former Cleveland Cavalier, signs a 3-year, $28 million contract with Memphis. And you might be thinking, Jesus, Jim, isn't that very similar to the deal that Cleveland just gave Sam Merrill? Cleveland! And my answer would be, yes. So Cleveland have now gotten Lonzo Ball and Tyrese Proctor to bolster up the backup point guard position there in Cleveland behind Garland and Mitchell. They let Ty Jerome walk, but they gave Sam Merrill basically the Ty Jerome money and might have missed a trick here. Because I think Ty Jerome is substantially better than Sam Merrill. And then maybe you don't do the Lonzo Ball trade. Who knows if he's any good? Anyway, it's a bit of a weird fucking shit show. Cleveland might have just galaxy brained themselves a little bit here. I like that move for Memphis. Memphis also brought back Santi Aldama, which is pretty cool. Lucky, I think, as well. So they sort of sorted this one out before free agency. 3 years, $52.5 million for Santi Aldama. He was really big for them at times last year, so love that for Memphis. Good job by them. Karis LeVert, my sweet baby. Karis LeVert is off to the Detroit basketballing Pistons. 2 years, $29 million, which is basically the exception, the non-taxpayer exception level, which is cool. Good on you, Karis. Weird kind of fit, I think, in Detroit when you've got Ron Holland, you've got Orsar Thompson. But with Malik Beasley being investigated for gambling stuff, Detroit are kind of suddenly up against the wall going, fucking wait a minute, can we bring him back or is he going to get suspended for a year or forever? Like, what the fuck? And there is an incredible clip of Malik Beasley covering a spread in the bubble where they're down like 8 or something. And I think the spread is like, they might be down 10 or something. And it's like the last 5 seconds, the spread's 8.5 and he dribbles the length of the court for a layup as time expires and scores. It's amazing. It's like, oh yeah, he guilty. Allegedly. Anyway, so Karis LeVert on Detroit, weird fit, but a little bit of extra ball handling, a little bit of extra shooting for the Pistons, and I'll fucking take it. Their big move is just getting Jaden Ivey back, if you ask me. But also, there might be a trade coming there, so we'll talk about Detroit again in a second. Al Horford, nothing's there yet for him. Feels very Golden State-y. We'll get to that again later. Zaire Williams and Day'Ron Sharpe were both announced before free agency opened as well as returning to the Brooklyn Nets. 2 years, $12 million each, which is just really good business, I think, for Brooklyn, because that's actually pretty fucking cheap for both those dudes who probably outperformed that contract status. So it also meant that Brooklyn's cap space, they weren't eating into it with their, they basically gave up the options and then brought them back. So didn't eat into their cap space when they went and did the Michael Porter Jr. Cam Johnson swap. It also leaves them, they've still got like a bit of cap space, Brooklyn, but still, don't mind those two moves. The other big one was Luke Cornett to the Spurs. Do you think it was Wemby just being super impressed by Cornett's jump up in the middle of a floor defense to throw you off your shot? 4 years, $41 million for Luke Cornett. Certainly priced himself out of Boston, so there you go. They also are probably, look, I think that's a solid addition for the Spurs. They've got wings, they've got shooting. Cornett can do a little bit of like backup big stuff, shoot a little bit, off he goes. Kind of a nice fit. So good job by San Antonio. Hey, Jim, did the fucking New Orleans Pelicans do something weird?
Yes.
Kevon Looney, 2 years, $16 million from the Golden State Warriors to the Pelicans. Now, you might be like me and just go, that's fucking weird, Jim. So, yes, Kevon Looney's solid. He also can't shoot a lick. And suddenly, your New Orleans Pelicans have a point guard who can't shoot, a couple of wings. I mean, Herb Jones, Trey Murphy, fine. Zion, not going to be dropping threes. And then you got a couple of centers as well. Derek Queen, that you just drafted. Not a three-point shooter. What did he take? He hit 20% in college. Yeesh. The Pelicans. Joe Dumars. He hasn't missed a trick. He was like out there fucking up Detroit for years and years and years at the end of his tenure there in Michigan. Then gets unsummarily like just fucking shot into the moon. The NBA pick him up and give him a fucking mate's job. He fucks around for a decade. Gets this Pelicans job. He has not missed a beat of being fucking shithouse at his job. It's incredible. Way to go, Joe Dumars. You shithouse. Gary Trent Jr. is back to Milwaukee. Hey, they get the band back together. This will very much impress Giannis, won't it? They also signed, so that Gary Trent Jr. is a 2 year, $7.5 million deal. That's cheap as shit. Love that for him. Love that for them. Good on him. They also snagged Taurine the Red Bull Prince on a cheap deal. Back to Milwaukee. Awesome. What was Taurine? It was pretty cheap as well. 2 years, $7.1 million. And Kevin Porter Jr., who opted out of his player option, he re-signed with the Bucks at 2 years, $11 million. And we should probably just need someone to cut to Giannis right now going, what the fuck? This is bullshit. Our team was fucking shit last year. Now we got more shit. This is fucked. Fucking. So yeah, Giannis, I don't think, they lose Brook Lopez. You can't replace him with DeAndre Ayton. The best thing about Brook Lopez, unless they go and sign Miles Turner, which under the cap, I don't think they fucking can, obviously, because they've got no cap space. It's fucking weird. They're cooked. The Bucks, just shit house. Anyway, Luka Garza goes to Boston, which sucks. Why was that, Jim? Well, because I would have loved Jock Landale to land there, because I think as I tweeted out, within 4 minutes of his first game, Jock Landale would be an instant Boston Celtics legend. in much the same way that Aaron Bangers Baines was, right? But Luka Garza goes there for 2 years, $5.5 million. Great move by Brad Stevens. Garza was solid in his backup minutes there in Minnesota. They got 1 million bigs during the draft in Berengay and fucking our man Rocco. So he's on the outer. Boston have got like no bigs. So boom, you get Luka Garza. Solid move. Trey Jones is going back to Chicago. 3 years, $24 million. That's feels a bit rich. Also feels like Chicago are squeezing out Josh Giddey. I'll talk about that in a second. Trendon Watford off to Philly for 2 years, $5.3 million. Might not leave any space for Yabusele with Cornette there in San Antonio and Trendon Watford in Philly. But anyway, Jake LaRavia went to the Lakers. The Lakers for 2 years, $12 million. That's solid. LaRavia is solid. But at the same time, like this Lakers team has just solid dudes, but they're still just kind of like not that dangerous. I don't know. Like to let Dorian Finney-Smith go, who's played with Luka, gives you an excellent defensive wing option, and you've got Jake LaRavia on the cheap. Sure, but don't like it. Paul Reed, basketball Paul, he goes back to Detroit for a 2 year, $11 million deal, and Mason Plumlee lands in Charlotte, 1 year, $3.6 million. Cam Spencer signs with Memphis for 2 years, $4.5 million, which is crazy. And Phoenix bring over Fenerbahce's EuroLeague champion, Finals MVP, Turkish Cup champion MVP, Nigel Hayes-Davis on a 1 year deal, which is pretty cool. So, there you go. Those are, if not all of, then the vast majority of the actual deals that have been done. And I'll tell you what, it's solid, but you might notice there's a distinct amount of similarity between all the dollar numbers I just rattled off. That's because it's literally just tax-paying teams, non-tax-paying teams, essentially using their mid-level or the tax-paying exception as well to sign these dudes. And yeah, that's where we're at. Like, that's all we've got now because no one's got cap space apart from Brooklyn. And Brooklyn kind of just work around the edges. They get Michael Porter Jr., whatever. If you look at the depth chart for Brooklyn, you're like, that's a fucking horror show. But what does this mean? Jim, we've had all these signings. The big ones who actually sort of change teams like Nick Alexander-Walker, D'Lo, Dorian Finney-Smith and Clint Capela, Ty Jerome going to Memphis, right? Like, they're solid, but there's no massive big fucking names, right? And that's kind of what the entire thing was about going into this free agency. Because LeBron came out, well, he didn't come out. Rich Paul was like, yeah, hey, look, no, we're not asking for a trade or anything. We're just saying that we understand what's going on. We're fine with it. The Lakers know that. It's like, okay. So who's left is the other sort of big question. And what's happened is that restricted free agents like Josh Giddey, Johnny Kuminga, their teams have, yes, smartly, just let them be squeezed. Because there's fuck all cap space left out there in the NBA. So their existing teams, in Johnny Kuminga's case, the Golden State Warriors, in our man Josh Giddey's case, the Chicago Bulls, will be able to go to them and go, look, there is your leverage to go somewhere else is now basically fucked. Like I think Kuminga, Miami might still be able to do something because there is still the question of Duncan Robinson's contract, where he ends up, etc. So Miami might be able to piece something together. But otherwise, there's not too much stuff going on. So their teams can go to Jonathan Kuminga and say, hey, we think this much. Their agent will go, maybe how about this? And they'll probably figure out something in between. Josh Giddey, same sort of thing, right? They bring back Trey Jones. They do the Okoro trade. And here they are sort of sitting there go, well, we'll bring you back, but at this, which is a bit fucky, but the reality of the NBA. So who is left? Jonathan Kuminga, obviously, not signed yet. Well, as of what? 3 o'clock our time. Jonathan Kuminga, Josh Giddey. DeAndre Ayton has to clear waivers still. Chris Paul is still out there. There's been a lot of murmurings about where he could end up. Russell Westbrook, before Jordan Jeremy Clarkson was bought out by the Jazz, and the Knicks were basically like, dibs on him. Rusty was an interesting question for New York. Malcolm Brogdon, as I mentioned, would have been awesome in Orlando. Just saying. Eric Gordon, another free agent out there. Philly just going, oh, God. Malik Beasley, of course, now under investigation for gambling, so no one signed him. Al Horford, very much looks like, I don't know, a bunch of contenders obviously kicking the tires on Al Horford. Golden State feels like they definitely need a loony replacement. Al Horford might be it. Who knows what's going to happen there. But obviously Boston want to bring him back. Just in terms of dollars, can they actually even do it? Cleveland have kicked the tires on there. The Knicks. It would be very funny if you went back to Philly. But anyway. Q Grimes, speaking of Philly, you might remember him. Came over from Dallas, lit it up for the Sixers. Hasn't been brought back yet. Mo Wagner had his team option not picked up the other day for the Orlando Magic. I dare say they bring him back on the cheap. Gershon Yabusele. We talked about him just before. It looked like he was going to go to the Spurs to hang out with his French buddy, Victor Wembanyama. And then they spent all their money on fucking Luke Cornett. So we'll see what happens to Yabu. Spencer Dinwiddie and Tim Hardaway Jr. A couple of, former Mavs mates. Hardaway Jr. now on the Pistons. Spencer Dinwiddie now kicking the tires going, who wants me? I fucking hate D'Angelo Russell. Amir Coffey? Sure. Trey Man? Not to be confused with Terrence Mann, like I did the other day. Cam Thomas, he fits in the restricted territory as well, along with Josh Giddey and Johnny Kuminga, where the Nets have the bird rights to basically match whatever he could get offered, and they'll figure out a contract on the side. So, as you look through that list, there's not many big names, right? Kuminga, Giddey, Cam Thomas are your restricted dudes. Ayton as a buyout dude. Chris Paul is a fascinating case, aged 40. Russell Westbrook, Rusty. Can he help another contender? Who knows? But wow. And then, of course, the Aussies. So Jingles signs on with Minnesota for one more year. There has been no mention of Ben Simmons as of yet. Patty Mills. We know that he's the GM of basketball for the University of Hawaii, which is awesome. He hasn't retired, so we'll see what happens there. Dante Exum cops the squeeze in Dallas after they signed that shithead D'Lo. And look, they are just running out of roster spots there in Dallas, so who knows where Dante's going to end up. I'll tell you what, he would be fucking awesome for Milwaukee as a fill-in for Dame Lillard. Just saying, the thing is how much money they got out there. Jack McVay, he was waived by the Houston Rockets as well from his two-way contract with Houston. So there was a report, I think they actually had him on like 7 News or some shit saying he's going back to America tomorrow and we'll sort of, do some stuff. So hopefully Jack McVay catches on with somebody. So I guess with Box Hill Benny, Patty Mills, Dante and Jack McVay still up in the air, Jock Landale, without a guarantee on that contract for next year from Houston as of yet, who knows what the fuck's going to happen. The cool thing is, Taron Armstrong and Alex Tui are hanging out together on the Golden State Warriors Summer League team, so that's kind of nice. Rocco's over there hanging out in Minnesota. Lockie Olbrich is fucking flying and over the moon about how he's been treated by Chicago already, which is great. So, what are those are the remaining players out there. What are the big questions? What are the questions that I just want to find out the next day or two? Chicago and Josh Giddey. What is that number going to be? Like, is it going to get to $30 million over, per year for the next 4 years? So a 4-year, $120 million contract? No doubt he'd want it to be more, but I reckon that's probably where it's going to fit. The other big one for Detroit, I'm wearing the hat today as well, is a Malik Monk trade was being mooted there, right? So they just love a good Malik. They've already got Malik Beasley, investigated for gambling, remember? So they're like, fuck that. We want no bar. We need a shooter. So Malik Monk. Duncan Robinson was the other one being tossed around for Detroit, so we don't know what's going to be happening there. Cam Thomas, what happens with his dollars in Brooklyn? Where does that land, right? As just a gunner, kind of smallish kind of guard who's just going to put up a fuck ton of points, but who's actually going to win you anything? Probably not much. Where does Yabusele end up? Who knows? But a solid, he had a really, really fun year for Philly last year. Again, this is like the squeeze of the money, so we'll see what happens to Yabu. Does average Al Horford end up in Golden State? Where does Chris Paul land is the other big one. Who wants Russell Westbrook? Anybody? Do you want a Russell? Feels like he's like Miami. I don't know. He's always got a bit of a Miami vibe. And then, of course, the Aussies. Dante Exum. Who's got a little bit of cash that they can go swing towards Dante bring him in. Ben Simmons. Does anybody want to be in the Ben Simmons business? Or does he have to get ready to learn China, buddy? Jock Landale, what happens there? Is he part of the sign-and trade with Atlanta? We're going to find out in the next 48 hours, no doubt. And that's about where we are. Those are the big questions. Jonathan Kuminga. Have Golden State poisoned this well of goodwill where he's just like, mate, I'm just going to go get like this mid-level deal with somebody who's still got like a little bit of cash left. Fuck you, I'm out. And Golden State could go, cool, we'll match it then. We've got your bird rights, bro. Might cost him a pretty penny, but you keep the asset. And a couple of little other fun things that we sort of saw today, right? With Bruce Brown leaving New Orleans, we now have like a bit more of an idea about what the Brandon Ingram trade actually returned on the Pelicans. So this is why I was kind of shitting on the Pelicans before. So Kelly Olynyk was also traded off for Jordan Poole and shit, right? And they sent the 2026 Pacers back to them for 22. They sent 22 and their own unprotected for next year to get Derek Queen. So the Brandon Ingram trade has brought back Jordan Poole, Derek Queen, and a 2031 second-round pick. They sent out Brandon Ingram, a 2026 first-rounder from the Pacers, number 22, and their own unprotected pick swap for fucking next year. The Pelicans are morons. Like, that is absolute chaos territories. And then the other one is the Dame trade for Portland a couple of years later, right? So Deandre Ayton's now been bought out. He was part of that. Remember Drew Holiday? He got flipped for Malcolm Brogdon. Brogdon traded to Washington for Denny Avdija. Time Lord, always hurt. They could probably still get something for him, right? So there's 3 unprotected firsts, I think. They've still got the Milwaukee 2029 one. They gave up 2 of those to get Denny Avdija, who's been fantastic. A couple of other swaps as well. The Dame trade is still kind of like, yeah, right. What did you really get back for that? And it's a little bit, but DeAndre Ayton being bought out, not being able to get anything for him is a little bit of a fucking shit show. So I don't know. A bit of chaos there. Right, let's take a very quick break. Come back with some now's the unpopular opinion of the day and Outback Takehouse, and we'll get out of your hair and we'll do some more cleanup as of tomorrow. But we'll take a break, come back, do some now's right after this.
This is Cam Glidden.
This is Anthony Drimmick.
This is Mitch McCarron.
This is Jason Kadee.
This is Darryl McDonald.
Hey guys, this is Hugh Greenwood.
Yo, what's going on? This is Illy.
This is Mark Worthington, or commonly known as Wortho, and you're listening to NBA Australia.
You listen to NBA Australia.
And you're listening to NBA Australia.
And you're listening to NBA
And you're
Australia.
listening to NBA Australia.
You're listening to NBA Australia.
And you're listening to NBA Australia.
You're listening to NBA Australia.
All right, let's do some now's brought to you by you. That's right. You can shout us a beer, shout us a coffee. The link is in our bio. Go check it out. Thanks to all the legends who have signed up to the Dead Set Legends Club as well. We are taping the basically the exclusive, unique show for those subscribers tomorrow, so you can still jump on board. The link is in our bio. Go hit it up. Check it out. Shout us a beer. Shout us a coffee. Appreciate you all. All the legends who have signed up, you all rock. Let's do it. Matty O. Michael Porter Jr. being exiled to Brooklyn is the funniest thing ever. Couldn't happen to a better bloke. Yeah, it's pretty fucking funny. Michael Porter Jr., a couple of Israelis on that team as well. That is going to be fucking chaos. Benny Saraf and Danny Wolf and co. Absolute chaos. But, as I sort of said, it's like the monkey paw wish come true. Michael Porter Jr. is like, I want my own team. I'm sick of being in the shadow of Jokic. And it's like, okay, you've got your own team. But it's Brooklyn. Oh, fuck. He's going to be playing with 8 different rookies and, like, Terrence Mann. Nick Claxton. Awesome. Yeah, tough one there for Michael Porter Jr. Going from a contender to Brooklyn. Flip side, my biggest is, are Denver the biggest winners out of this free agency period somehow? Oh, close. I really, really, really love what Houston have done by bringing back a bunch of their dudes, getting Capela in there to back up Steven Adams, getting Dorian Finney-Smith just to fucking keep causing all that defensive havoc between Amen Thompson, Tari Eason, Dorian Finney-Smith. Holy shit, mate. Anyway, but Denver getting Bruce Brown and Cam Johnson is massive. Cam Johnson does so much more, I think, than Michael Porter Jr. Defensively, he's going to be an upgrade as well. Like he and Aaron Gordon as your 3-4 defenders. I fucking love that for Denver. So, just saying, don't mind it. And Atlanta, holy shit. All the moves they've swung, they look just maybe not loaded for bear, but they look so fucking solid now that it's like, oh shit. Like that should be a top 5 team in the East next year. Like, what are we doing? Good job. Dan D. Love this one. Yeah, nah, you can't be all about defense wins championships, then go and sign D'Lo. Nickeil is seriously the podcaster's gift that keeps on giving. Yeah, nah. Yes, I hit on this at the top. Are you fucking serious, Nickeil Harrison? Oh, nah, man. What I've learned from hanging around Kobe is that defense wins championships. And then this motherfucker goes and signs D'Angelo Russell. Is Nickeil Harrison... Here we go. There's the yeah, nah. Is Nickeil Harrison the dumbest motherfucker who ever lived? Yeah, nah. I'll let you be the judge. Just saying. Tim May, look, yeah, the entire like stopgap approach for this Mavs team with D'Lo is there. I swear they were probably better off with Spencer Dinwiddie and Dante Exum, right? Instead of D'Lo. He's a fucking shit show. Anyway, and you know that Cooper Flag's like, are you fucking this guy? At least Spencer Dinwiddie and Dante Exum are solid vets who aren't going to rock too many. Spencer's like a bit of a fucking lunatic when it comes to his, goes full deli with his crypto, but still. I think a D'Lo could have much more potential damaging effects between Anthony Davis, Cooper Flag, PJ. Like, that is the sort of thing that can fuck your locker room, right? All the Lakers did last year was like, hey, who wants a D'Lo? Do you want a D'Lo? Who wants a D'Lo? Got a D'Lo, got a D'Lo. Who wants a D'Lo? And every team that has him is like, hey, who wants a D'Lo? So it would not surprise me if we come February, it's like, yeah, D'Lo's up for a trade. What can Dallas get for D'Lo? Because he's a fucking shithead. Anyway, last one, Tim May. Do you think Taron Armstrong hamstrung his career by taking that 2-way contract at the end of the season with the Warriors instead of waiting for the draft and potentially getting picked in the first round? Yeah, no, because Taron Armstrong was actually in the 23 draft, which is why he wasn't in this year's draft. So I think he did a pretty good job of just going back to Cairns, doing his thing, working his way into the 2-way contract and then taking it. So I think he's done pretty good, Tim. He also gets a new Aussie teammate, as Tim points out, in Alex Tui. Fuck yes. I love it. We get Taron Armstrong. We get fucking Alex Tui on the same team. Love that for the boys. That's fucking great. Get all the Aussies, Golden State. Come on, help us out. All right, unpopular opinion of the day.
Now look at me, please. Look at me. Look at me. Look at me.
I think the 6 p.m. start to free agency is so much more civilized, but it's also shit. Right? Because you just don't have the fucking sheer chaos of the midnight start where everybody's like, you know, a bunch of these team executives and the owners might be a bit on the older side. They're all a bit woozy. Suddenly they're giving Mozgov fucking $120 million and you're like, what the shit's going on? You know, all that good stuff from the olden days. What did Mozgov get from the Lakers? It was massive, wasn't it? It's like $64 million. And it's like Luol Deng, Mozgov, and they just went foot, and then they were shit for fucking a bunch of years until LeBron rocked up. Amazing stuff. But yeah, look, the midnight stuff just made it way more chaotic. It was brutal. So obviously when we were living in the States, you're just like, Jesus, hurry up, 12 o'clock, and then Woj would be dropping his bombs exactly at like 1 second past 12 midnight. But the 6 p.m. thing, it's a lot more civilized. It makes a lot more sense. I get it, but it doesn't quite come with the drama. Anyway, and then finally, a bit of Outback Takehouse. Oh, yeah. It's Tuesday at Outback. You know what that means. Yep, took the boys fishing yesterday. Caught a bunch of yabbies. And that's what you're getting today. This is our fucking surf and turf. You're getting fucking yabbies on top of your steak. Simple as that. Surf and turf, Aussie style. Only at Outback. Fuck your prawns. This is inland prawn. Part of the Inland Empire. And today's flame grilled take is none of this free agency actually matters. None of the deals signed today will actually swing a title. Because Oklahoma City are just going to win it anyway. Only at Outback. To be honest, I think the biggest deal, or the biggest out of all of the signings, all this sort of shit, the biggest thing was Denver getting Cam Johnson and Bruce Brown. Like, just giving that fucking team a hint of depth, I don't fucking mind at all. Cam Johnson has also, had his injury problems here and there, but he's certainly no Michael Porter Jr., you know what I'm saying? So, either way. Right. Holy crap, I think that might be it. I don't think there's anything else that's been signed, and I think, at this point, so what is it, like almost 3:30 Australian time, there'll be more deals as we sort of go through tomorrow. But as I mentioned, right, so there'll probably be giddy news about his contract. We'll probably have a little bit more about Kuminga. I don't know if like Golden State will just let him, wave in the wind. I don't know. There's a couple of other folks who'll be out there taking visits. So we'll probably have another day or two worth of like this sort of stuff. But as I said, right, I feel like the NBA is just like, you know what? It's July 1. The July 4 long weekend is quite literally a weekend this year. So let's get all of our fucking business done real fucking quick so we can piss off and hang out with our actual families. And I don't actually mind it because I've got a feeling I'll get to do the same thing as of next week. So we'll see what happens. All right, but that's it. Fuck it. We're done. Because we will be back on deck tomorrow. We're going to do sort of clean up on tomorrow's show for a bunch of stuff, obviously. For all the remaining deals and stuff that are still out there, what actually happens overnight, we'll wrap all that up for you tomorrow. What's that, a Wednesday show? And then on Friday, we'll do sort of like winners and losers of free agency. Because basically, by the time we get to Friday, all the spice will be done. Everything should be sorted. Everybody should have a new home. So we'll give you a quick update, I reckon, on as of a show tomorrow. We'll tape the exclusive, unique show specifically for the members as well. So go check that out. Hit the link in our bios. Shout us a coffee. Buy us a beer. Whatever you want to do. Help us out. And you can jump on the list and get an exclusive, yes, it sounds very special, podcast as well. So go do that. The link is in our bio and across our socials. So make sure you are signed up across all those things. Get around us on Twitter, Facey, IG, TikTok, and YouTube. We're all over the socials, you know that. Chuck us a rating and review on your Apple Podcast, your Spotify, YouTube, music, whatever you use to listen to NBA Straya. Make sure you've rated, reviewed, starred, all that good stuff. Big thanks always go to From Oslo for the intro and outro song They Rule. So do House Hats, Joshua De Laurentiis, Fascinated Gold Mines, Ramshackle Army, Iowa, Sexual Green, and Dozers. They're behind all the tunes you hear throughout the show. So smash them all on Bandcamp, Apple Music, Spotify. If you listen and support your bands, do so. NBA Australia supports Australian bands. So should you. And that is it for today. A big free agency special. It sort of feels like, there's no real fucking tectonic moves, maybe. But we've still got Giannis, LeBron, sort of just out there making a little bit of noise. So who knows what could happen the next day or two. And that's why we'll be back on deck tomorrow. So we'll catch you then, you dickheads. This is NBA Australia saying, hopefully Josh Giddey gets fucking paid. Where does Box Hill Betty end up? Should Patty Mills just become my co-host? I don't know. We'll see what happens. Right. We'll catch you tomorrow, you dickheads. Look after yourselves, would ya? And later, hose on! G'day, legends. Your mate Jim from NBA Straya here. That's right. I'm doing a thing at the end of the show. In the business, we call it a thing at the end of the show, I guess. I don't know. Either way, all I'm just saying is just make sure you're rating, reviewing, starring, subscribing across all of the apps that you use for NBA Australia. Jump in the comments. Give us a shout. We'll bang you in the air, nars. Any other questions? I'll have a crack. I've got nothing better to do, basically. Also, just ask any questions. Tell me what you want to hear from the show and sing out and let us know. And of course, if you want to help support the show, jump on the old dabble. Use that code NBA Australia. Click on the link that's in the show description or on the socials. It goes up whenever I do the morning vibes, etc. So if that's your thing, jump on there. Use that code NBA Australia. And remember, look after yourselves, would you?